Starting and running a business is hard, but you don't have to do it alone. Whether you're an established business owner or thinking about starting a side hustle to earn extra income, I am here to teach you how to show up as your unfiltered self, level up your business, and thrive as a mompreneur. Let's embrace the chaos and start enjoying the journey together. I'm Amy Traw, and you're listening to the Motivated Mompreneur Podcast. Welcome back in, everyone. I am joined by Laura of Body Tuned By today on the Motivated Mompreneur Podcast. Laura, welcome in.
Thank you so much for having me on.
I'm so excited for the discussion we're going to have today. So before we dive into that, Laura, tell us more about yourself. Who are you? What do you do? Who do you help?
Perfect. So my name is Laura Soulios, and first and foremost, I am a wife of 16 years and a mom of 2. So I've got a 13-year-old girl and an 11-year-old boy. And they're the ones that keep me motivated. And from my actual work is I'm a medical esthetician and a body transformation coach. So very simply, I help other high achieving women basically reverse their signs of aging through nutrition and fitness, like by strength training, and also through aesthetics.
Oh my gosh, I love how you combine all of those things, especially the strength component, because as women right now, middle age, we need to build up our bones so much. I come from a career in healthcare originally, and I just can't preach that enough. Like right now is when you are setting up that foundation. But you've got 2 middle schoolers. You are in the thick of it.
I know. So any advice, I'll take it.
Well, it used to be like when my kids were babies, it was the toddler years that scared me. And now that my kids are elementary age, it's middle school that scares me. I'm not worried about high school. It's middle school. Oh goodness. So,
I feel like every age has its challenges. And I remember when the kids were really young, like asking my mom and mother-in-law, and I was like, does it get easier? And they're like, well, and I was like, as soon as they start with well, you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And they're like,
doomed.
It just becomes different. And I was like, oh, thanks. Right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But I would totally agree with that statement because the toddler years, okay, your big issues are the potty training and the tantrums and this and that. And now that my girls are getting older, it's like mean girls and this and that, and then the test anxiety. And it's just, every stage has its differences. So how do you navigate, being a business owner, working and being a mom at the same time? Like, what strategies can you give us to help with the juggle of it all?
Yeah, I feel like at the beginning, obviously, when they are like the toddler age, it's a lot harder because it is more hands-on with the kids. So definitely now it is a lot easier for me because the kids are in school full time. So I can concentrate, on myself. And, several years ago, I did decide, that I was worn out and I was like, I need to focus on myself because if I don't prioritize myself, then how am I going to be a proper wife? How am I going to be a proper mom? I'm snapping at them and I need to refocus myself and start to prioritize myself. So for me, that looked like just starting to do a workout, like a daily workout. So every morning I'd wake up, I'd get their breakfast ready, get them organized, and then I would go, our basement's finished. So I would go downstairs, work out. And that like 20 minutes just made me feel like me again. And it was something that I needed to do to just refocus on myself and, build more confidence. And then I was more patient with the kids. I was, more loving and I had more time, even with my clients. Like I just found it's funny how you think when you're first starting to work out, you're like, oh, I don't have time for that. But it's funny how you actually make the time for it. And then it just becomes a habit and a routine. And everything else just falls into place so much more smoothly that now I look back and I'm like, how did I not work out? How did I not watch what I was eating? Like, how did I not focus on any of these things that, I let myself be, the last of the crop, right? And as soon as I made that change, everything else just seemed to fall in place so much more smoothly.
Yeah. And it's so hard to do because I think sometimes that mom guilt starts to
Yeah.
sneak in, especially when you are having to be so hands-on with your kids when they're little. I mean, that's the one thing I will say about this age of things is that my kids are more independent, that they can do things on their own. And it's hard when you're hands-on all the time. But like you said, I love how you worked out at home. It wasn't
Yeah.
even that you had to figure out a way to find childcare, get to the gym, this, that, and the other. You started at home, just
Yeah.
20 minutes. Take
Yeah.
that extra time for you, set the alarm a little bit earlier, and just make it a priority. First thing, let's get out of bed and let's work out. That's what I have to do, because if I don't do it first thing, I will find a million other things that need
Yeah.
done
And
besides
it
taking
just
care of myself.
Yeah, and it just sets like good intentions. So even for like the kids, from the young age when I started that, they were still in school, but they were still little. So they just started to see, hey, this is what mom does. So they themselves started to realize it's not so much about, losing weight. Yes, okay, I did lose the weight, but it was more like mommy's getting stronger, so I can lift you up more. And then for them, that was like something that just fired them up, like, oh, I'm gonna work out too. So you know what, we're their examples, right? So
Yeah.
when they see that we're prioritizing ourselves and we're putting our health first, that's when they start to realize, even for themselves, well, mummy is doing squats, oh, I could do a squat too, okay, let's do it together, right? So just giving them that encouragement too. And now even my kids, like, what, my son can hold a plank way longer than I can, so it's just encouraging them and building that momentum. And it's something that started with just, hey, taking care of myself, but that rubbed off on them. Yeah.
Exactly. And just building those healthy habits at a young age is setting them up for success.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've shown that the kids that are physically active, they do better in school. They have better focus, just like us. You
Yeah.
exercise, you may not want to get out of bed earlier and do
Yeah.
the darn thing, but you feel better afterwards. And yeah, when mom's happy, everybody's happy, because it does pour over. It's not being selfish. And like you said, you get into the habit, you establish that habit, and then it's just automatic,
Yeah.
because you do have choices of how you spend your time, instead of just spending your time in your very comfortable bed where you're nice and
Yeah.
cozy. Okay, let's make the choice to do something for us that's going to benefit everyone.
Yeah.
That is phenomenal. So, in terms of being a business owner, what advice can you give us on how to achieve your goals?
Ooh,
Ooh,
that's a
that's a
tough one.
big
Yeah.
question. That's
It
like a
is a big
huge.
I know. Well, first of all, like I would say, you have to hustle, especially being like a small business owner, you have to reach out, you have to follow up, you have to be good at obviously what you're doing, first and foremost. But I do feel like yeah, to get bigger and grow your business, you definitely need to follow up with your clients. And I know for me, like with my business, so my full medical spa is in my house. And that started because of the kids. So I don't need to worry about, having to figure out daycare or where they like are going to be. And a lot of times with my industry, with aesthetics, it is evening appointments. So I can't find a daycare that's open at 7 p.m. to watch my children. So it's something that needed to be done at the home, especially, that I know they're upstairs sleeping and I could be downstairs working. And, it didn't start off with like, thousands of clients finding me and rushing to me, but just slowly over the years, I've gotten very busy, and, I have a wait list, and, it's been a huge blessing. But it didn't start like that. And it was, the follow up, and it was being good at your industry, and, prioritizing some things over the other, and just, constantly being in the know and constantly growing. So, figuring out, okay, this is the trend that my clients are wanting to go in. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to take that course, I'm going to get certified, and I'm going to offer that. So that was just like with the body transformation coaching. I didn't originally do that, but then after I started losing weight, my clients were like, how are you doing this? So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back to school, I'm going to get certified, and I'm going to help them this way. And your goals kind of constantly change in the direction too. Like each year, you're not going to be at one specific goal, but you're going to constantly, go through the flow of what you want to accomplish for yourself, right? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's a deep question, but it definitely can change for person to person too. And I know for me, my number one goal was to, be able to work while still being, a mom and still providing for my family.
Right. And that's, I think something a lot of us struggle with is we are just so tempted to give up early on because it's not an overnight success. It's not like one day you woke up and I'm like, okay, I want to start this business. And then tomorrow you have a line out the door. No, it is
Yeah.
work. And it
Yeah.
is having to find those creative solutions like you did, because you can figure out anything. You just have to sometimes look at it from a different angle. Figure out, okay, well, I know childcare is a barrier. What can I do to succeed? And for you, that was, okay, you know what? I need to offer these evening hours, and I can do that by working out of my home. So getting creative, it, that's really a key part of it. And like you said, it's work.
Hmm.
It's a hustle.
Yeah.
I hate that word in a sense, but as long as it's an intentional hustle, yeah, you're going to have to put in the work to get the results. Just like same thing with exercise and nutrition. You can't decide one day, you know what, I'm going to be fit and, do one workout and expect to be able to do a CrossFit competition or run a marathon.
Yeah.
It takes work.
Absolutely. And even
Love.
for like the younger generation, like I do have a lot of, younger girls that, are aspiring to be, whether it's body transformation coaches or in the medical aesthetics industry, and they see how busy I am. And they're like, okay, like, I'm just going to open up my own place too, like you. And I'm like, that's awesome. I'm like, however, like, I'm not going to tell you not to, dream big and go for it. I'm like, but you need to build the experience. So I would
Right.
suggest starting at a spa, like starting at a gym, building clientele, trying to see what your niche is. And then from there, go on to making your own thing, because you're just seeing, the nice sunny skies, and that's not the reality. We have
Right.
to start from the bottom, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah.
and how often do we get trapped in that comparison mode? We're trying to compare our very beginning, our chapter 1, to the person that's on chapter 20.
Yes.
And you don't know the life experiences that have led that woman up to this point. You don't see all of the trials and tribulations and questioning and doubt and all of those feelings that we've all dealt with. I think every single business owner at one point or another would be like, you know what, it'd just be easier to go back to a 9 to 5. Like, at least I don't have to think about it. At least I don't have to worry about, the fluctuating income, this, that, and the other. But then it's worth it. When you do
Yeah.
start to see that traction and get there and see the impact you're making in these lives with your products and services, it's like, all right. And then you can be that guide for the woman that is your chapter 1. You can
Yeah.
be there to help and support yourself, because there are so many people that continue to support me on my journey as well. So it's being the light for the woman that you were, sharing your knowledge and your resources, because there is so much abundance in this world. I'm a huge advocate for that.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah. Laura, absolutely phenomenal information that you shared. Great knowledge, wisdom, and advice. Where can we find you to learn more?
So I do weekly motivational like tips on aging, as well as, skincare, nutrition, and fitness. So if you want to text the word ageless to my 416 628 9879. I'm not sure if you'll put that in the show notes.
I definitely will.
Yeah. Every Wednesday, I send out free tips on basically how you can, have anti-aging guides in your life, whether it's from exactly, skincare advice, to nutrition, to just motivation and, quick recipes that you can incorporate with, your family. So I do that. And then I am on Instagram as well. So I have two, which is, one is Body Tuned By, and then the other one is Laura Soulios, and there is some underscores in there. So be sure to look at the show notes for those. So
Yes, absolutely. Well, Laura, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to connect with us today.
thank you. Thank you, Amy.
Definitely. Well, until next time, stop dreaming, start taking messy action. You've got this. Are you loving what you're hearing? Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode.